come and join me and create all these wonderful textures with me to use in your watercolour paintings. There are literally thousands you can create, so come and have fun. Hello, I'm going to do this complete impromptu video about how to make texture and just loosen up your watercolour painting and get loads of stuff going and create loads of, as I said, texture and what's the word just excitement in your watercolour paintings. So I'm going to talk you through. I'm sorry, I'm not going to list all the stuff because I don't know what I'm going to use yet. I've just got everything that I normally use around me, and anything that comes to my head I'm just going to put it on this piece of paper. This piece of paper I've got is just a 350 GSM sheet of watercolour paper. It's cold press, about A3 size if you're UK, which is double A4. See, I'm not even worrying about, I've rolled it over with my chair a few times. So I'm just going to start and play. This is a really brilliant way to loosen up. There's so many techniques you can use to add interest to your paintings. It doesn't have to be pure 100% watercolour unless you're a purist, and that's a totally different way to paint. I'm not into having really flat washes. I love run backs and just a bit of life in my paintings, really. So let's just start off with the simple things, really. Brushes. You've got loads of brushes. I've got loads of brushes. There's loads of brushes you can have. This is just like my first thought when I'm thinking about creating textures and things. And these are sword brushes. They give you not much control. They hold a lot of water and you can just flip around on the page. Let me just get some watercolour, and they make nice marks, and it's just fun, and have a play with those. Then you can use really old scubby brushes which aren't watercolour ones at all, and you get a totally different effect by using that. Sorry, the sun's decided to shine today, which is quite nice. You've got filbert brushes, which are just, you can get flat washes, you can use it dry, you can use it wet, and you can just enjoy and just having fun. And this is a round bog standard watercolour brush that most people use when watercolour painting. It goes into a nice tip so you can get really fine lines and thick lines, and you can splash with it, and it holds lots of water so you can make lots of watermarks. Water makes marks. Water is you can see some marks coming there. Let me put these down. I'm going to end up with a handful of stuff. A spray bottle. Get some pigment. Let me see if I can get a nice bright colour for you. Get some pigment, put it on the paper whilst it's still wet, spray into it. You get some lovely effects like that. You can just use it like that. Whilst paintings are wet and things, I can't, crayons. I've got so many. Look at these. These are children's water soluble crayons, and they're like Stabilo ones, Stabilo woodies, I think you can draw in, and they're water soluble, so if you make a nice thick mark you can use it, and it just makes a nice extra dimension. You can go in whilst it's wet, it draws over the dry paper, and you can make marks, and they come in loads of different colours. You can just use them like that. You can use wax crayons as well. I haven't got any wax ones here actually. Right. And another thing I use a lot of are these, which are Neo 2 colours by Crayon Dash. I mean, these are water soluble ones as well, so you can draw and they're water soluble. They do leave a mark underneath. They're not come off 100%. Depends what colour it is, really. I've got lots of different colours. Oh, that's a chalk pastel. You can go over the top with that. And that even works. It like picks up some of the colour. Go and have a play. Go and have fun with everything you can get your hands on. Things from the kitchen sink. Now you'll see me use bleach. I use like household bleach a lot. It's diluted and I put it in a little dropper bottle, but it bleaches out the colour. It's a bit like using alcohol as well. You can get things like granulation medium. Let me try a bit of this. And you can also get colours that granulate as well, like a lot of the Daniel Smith colours and the Van Gogh colours granulate. One of my favourite granulating colours is Lunar Black. That just, look at it on the palette here. It's just so granulating and lovely and nice and just, it's good. I just like, watercolour's exciting. This is granulation medium and I like dripping that through. You can also get textures and things by tipping your paper up and letting it all run into each other. You get washbacks and those lovely cauliflowers that I love creating. Cauliflowers, washbacks. You can see this granulating here. Let me hold it up a bit. Sorry about the shadows. This is really bad. I'm going to have to pull my curtain over. You can see it down there. But, I'm going to have to pull my curtain over. And then it makes it dark. Or does it? That would do. It's not too bad. Yeah. I might put one light on. I don't want to get reflection because it's really... there we go. It's a bit better. Put this light on too. Maybe I should have done that in the first place. You can even add like acrylic inks to your paintings. They work like watercolours. They spread nicely as well if you're like adding it to another colour. Just be careful to rinse your brushes because some of them are not, once they're dry they stay dry. It's not like watercolour, you can't reconstitute them. Salt. Use salt, that adds a fantastic texture. You can get lovely like it's like, it creates like stars. Like frosty look, and this is coarse salt. You can use that. It's just brilliant. You can even use tape. Got a bit of tape here, just came to mind, to create straight edges over your work. So I've put that over there. So you have sticking it over the wet paint. I don't worry. There's a nice like washback happening here, which is really nice. Sorry, I don't know which side I'm at. Move along a bit. And then paint over there to create lovely straight lines if you need a straight line in your painting, or just to corner it off before you start another area. We'll come back to that bit, we'll pull it off in a minute. You can use masking fluid. Masking fluid is wonderful stuff. If you want to leave an area, you can even paint it over the colour you've already laid down. Use an old brush for masking fluid because that just messes your paintbrushes up completely. Let's put a bit of masking fluid here. I'll wait for it to dry. You have to wait for it to completely dry and then you can rub it off with, I've got a special little rubber thing that rubs it off nicely, or you can use your fingers to rub it off, it's fine. This is my masking fluid remover. I'll just do a little bit more masking fluid up in the corner because I've been using a lot of this lately. Make a little pattern there. I don't know what I'm doing. Splat it on. What else can we use? We can use alcohol drops. I haven't got any alcohol, but you can use nail varnish remover. It's downstairs. I should have thought about this a bit more before I started really. But I'm just like, look, I've got a tin of wax here. If I can get the lid off of it. This is just like waxy finishing wax. You can go over the top of your dried watercolour with it, and it just buffs it up really nicely. Or you can put it onto the painting, let it dry, and it acts like a resist, like a wax crayon. You can use wax crayons, you can use oil crayons, oil pastels, anything. Have a go. I've got like these mediums. You can buy mediums as well, which are like, which one's this? This is just impasto gel, so that would create a texture. I'm just putting it on with my finger. It doesn't really stick on top of the wet paint, but it creates like texture to your painting. So when that's dry, you can paint back over the top of it, and it creates a lovely texture if you want a bit of texture in your watercolour painting. It's another, and you can get matte and glossy. That one was gloss and that one's matte. You can get all different things. You can get crackle glaze that you can paint over the top. I don't know, I did have some. Yeah, this is crackle glaze. When that's fully dry, it crackles, and you can paint over the top of it. I'm just using my finger to apply this. Let's put a bit down here. It air dries, so it's just, I'll just leave it there. Wait for it to dry. I will come back to this when it's like completely dry and we can see. You can get like the beady mediums. This is just gel. That's the same one I had before, which is this one. I think this is a thick, this is white, it comes out white, so you can add that to your painting as well to create texture. It doesn't say what that is on there. I know it says it's acrylic effect paste, but it's just, you don't have to use it for acrylics, you can use it for anything. Sharpie, get a Sharpie. You can draw over the top and into the colours. It does work better when it's dry. And then you can paint over the top and like create lovely layers of, it's called glazing. So if you've got a nice translucent watercolour, so I've only got manky colours at the minute, you can go over the top and you can still see the Sharpie underneath. And splash, more splashing. And the thing you see me doing a lot of is always, I use water soluble crayons. You can make marks. The Stabilo ones don't work as well because they're waxier, but these, any like watercolour pencil and a bit of sandpaper, you can create lovely textures. I use this when I'm painting poppies a lot, and it's just really nice. I've got some, I think it's ammonia. I'm gonna say, yeah, it's ammonia, it stinks. And this sort of works as well. It's not as harsh as alcohol drops. It has a similar effect, so I'm just gonna stick a bit of that over the top. And then look, once that's pulled, you can just like let it drip everywhere. It's like brilliant. You can even use like spray paint over the top. You can use those spray inks. I haven't got any. You can spray that all, and then you can get a feather. I like using my feather, and you can use it as a pen to make lines. If your paper's wet and you score into it, I use a bamboo skewer a lot as well. If you skewer into it whilst the paper's wet, it creates a little furrow, and the paint will collect in there. And if you get it at the right time and scrape, it will leave a white line. So I've got that there, like that. You can use like a hairdryer to blow the paint around. You can use a straw and blow through a straw. And another thing you can use, a trusty toothbrush. You can flick paint everywhere. Just get it all nice and covered in the watercolour and spray it into your paint. That just like creates a lovely effect as well. Just make a mess, have fun with painting. Don't be so worried about getting it all right and oh, you can't use this and you can't use that, because that's boring. That is boring. You want to have fun with it. Cling films is another thing. If you put the cling film on, just tear a bit off on a bit of paper, on some paint that is wet, you get some lovely like lines and that forming. You can use bubble wrap and put it over it. What else have I got? I've got lots of stuff here. I mean, there's blotting paper. I use blotting paper a lot. You know, the stuff that calligraphers use to blot the paper. I used to be like, people always used to use it. And you can like blot out lines. I use this a lot for blotting out horizons if I need to, or making marks on the paper. So it's really good for stems in the background. It just soaks it. It's really porous paper, so it soaks up all the colour. And just look at how interesting this is already, and it's not even dry yet. There's going to be some nice things going on. I just love salt. You have to catch it at the right time. for the salt to work, and it doesn't always work with all the colours. Some colours don't like it, and you have to wait for the sheen just to go off. You can also, I've got a video up on YouTube where I've just used a ruler and scraped the paint across, and I've used it to make a really nice abstract that I painted. Here I think the masking fluid's dry. I'm just going to go over that with some purple, and have to wait for that to dry before I take off the masking fluid. Otherwise it's not going to work. Where did I put the other masking fluid? I think I put it down here somewhere. I will try. It wasn't quite dry, was it, when I put the masking fluid on, so it doesn't work over wet paper. And then just remember that the colour, just the watercolour paint, it gives you nice textures. Like I said, a lot of them are granularly. Just go and have fun. Try, experiment, get stuff out your kitchen cupboard and spray it on and see what happens. It's just fun, just experimenting and have fun. And don't worry what you end up with. Sometimes you end up with like a real mess, and other times, when I've done this before, when I'm just playing about, I start off all my classes like this with a play to loosen people up and just get people used to their colours and what they do together. Just two colours touching each other creates some lovely, fantastic things. You just have to just go and play. Oh, another thing, I just spied it out of my eye, is gum arabic. I love this stuff. I put it in backgrounds. It's water soluble. You just get a brush and put some on, and it just increases the viscosity of the paint. It makes it slower to react, and you get some lovely ideas. I'm not quite sure what you're exactly supposed to use it for, but you can see here all that lovely effects. And I love using it in backgrounds. And what I like to do is, when I'm painting a background, is sorry, I'm just clambering through my pencil. So I get a watercolour pencil and just drag it through. I like the ones that are a bit more water soluble. Some pencils are more susceptible to water than others, and I just drag it through the gum arabic, and it just creates a really lovely sort of texture. And just I can spend hours just doing this, just making marks on the paper and seeing what happens and experimenting with stuff and seeing what goes where, and it's really good. I just want to splat something in there now, like some white ink. I have got some white ink somewhere. I love just mixing things together. I suppose, I'm not sure if it does become like more of a mixed media painting once you start adding extra things in, but I don't care. It's just good fun. And I encourage you to go and have fun with it and enjoy. Oh, another thing that I like doing. I just keep thinking of things that I like doing. I've got this, is it shumi paper? It's a bit like tissue paper. I just love the effects you can get. Oh, it's really thin, is it the Japanese, Chinese paper? And I just like blotting. There's something about blotting. And then you end up with two paintings sometimes that you can use. It's great for pattern making and stuff like that. It's just brilliant. I just love it. See, you just blot and you get another texture happening on here that you can use. You can start using collaging, cutting things out. Let me take off this bit. It's probably going to not dry. See, and you've created another area of fun. Also blotting. See, I've just seen a tissue at the side. You can blot colour out in places that you don't want it to go, and that creates another texture. Using a tissue for the edges of petals on poppies give them that really nice papery feel, and it's just fun. So I'll come back to this because I'll be here for ages, like thinking of something else I could add to it. I'm not sure. Anyway, go and have fun and go and have a play, and we'll come back to this in a bit. now I'm coming back to this. I've left this is dry, completely dry. I'm just going to brush it off this salt that's on here, and also take off the cling film that was left on here. It's got stuck down rather a bit because I've got so much stuff on here. You can see where I've do a close up of what that did. Sorry, you can see how the pattern the cling film made. It's brilliant. I think the salt didn't quite work. When you catch it at the wrong time, it makes dots rather than the nice effect. This is a mixture of salt and other things as well. I had a lot of mixture, but I've done another experiment up here with some salt, and I'll show you in a minute. We talk through. This is the crackle glaze. If you can see, can you see where it's crackled? Oh, it's not gonna. Doesn't want to focus on it. You can go over the top of that and brushing off actually. That's where I bent the paper. It's come off. And here's got a lot of texture. Oh gosh, so it's all back to front on my camera. Here's a lot of texture. That was that clear texture paste, and this one up here is the white texture paste. I mean, it's given it a nice texture. This here is nice. Is where I dropped in the white ink, and then we've got lots of bleach smudges, and it's around here, and where I added the ink in. These areas here, that blob was the wax, and this one, and that creates a lovely texture. And then we've got the Sharpie as well, and the pencil crayon, and where I added the gum Arabic, and it's gone all nice, and just look at all the lovely textures you can get, and where I scratched into it and scraped into it. I've got my trusty old, these are specially formulated for removing masking fluid. They're like crepe, you know, the crepe soles you used to get on Clark's shoes as a kid. Show my age now. It's sort of made out from that, and then it rubs off the masking fluid really lovely. So this is where I put the masking fluid. Do test, if you're going to use masking fluid ever, do test it on some paper first, on the paper first that you're going to use. I did add a bit here of masking fluid, but the paper was wet, so it's doing a weird thing. That's what happens when you add masking fluid to wet paper. I think there's a bit there as well. I can feel it with my finger. It's all like pinky. And then I did the cling film over top of that texture paste as well, which made a nice, really like, you can't really see, it's got like a feely texture rather than a smooth texture, because these are all smooth textures. Does that make sense? Smooth textures or a feely texture. A raised texture, that's the word I'm going for. So it's just lovely, all the little things that have happened and everything. It's just nice. I just suggest you go and play and find things that you like, because everyone likes different things. Some people hate washbacks and silk texture and using masking fluid and things like that, which isn't, you know, some people just don't like it. But I love it. I love like the excitement it brings to a painting, or it's not just boring. Let me show you. I'm terrible. Find anything. I'll show you this. A couple of paintings that I've recently done where I've used texture, and this was using the I remember using what do you call it? The Lunar Black. That's the one. The Lunar Black, and I've also waxed over the top of this so it's protected. I used the furniture wax to seal it. This stuff that we used as a resist as well. So I've sealed this painting. So if I get a finger and go like that over the top, I just licked my finger. That's a bit minging, isn't it? See, it doesn't mess up the painting at all. It doesn't smudge it or anything. So it's nicely protected. If you ever want to send it off or protect your watercolours, which is sometimes a good idea. And then I've got lots of watermarks in this one. I haven't used a lot of like additives to this, but this one I got sorry about the focus, I can't turn it off. I've got like granulation fluid and bleach and gouache and salt, and I just threw everything at the background of this, and you can see me paint this on one of my videos on YouTube. So yeah, it's just nice. I might paint into this because it's so nice, and create, because these look like roses to me here, so I might paint into it and create a painting of roses. If I do, I will video it. This is the silk texture. Let me just dry it off. I forgot to say you can use the hairdryer, or did I? I've forgotten. Let me just finish drying this silk texture off. If you want to use silk, don't use a hairdryer, just let it dry naturally, but this has already sort of worked, but there was a puddle, so I'm just brushing the extra salt off. I don't want it to stick. And you can see the effect the salt's had. This was just normal table salt. So that's really pretty. And this one, let me just dry this one off a bit. I'm just going to blow it everywhere. So if I left that, it would have activated it a bit more, but now I've made it all stick on. But you can see the bigger lumps of salt create bigger texture. This is all like fine. The bigger lumps create bigger texture, and dots if you dry it. And these dots here are where I just dropped in some bleach. And I think that looks a bit like an owl, so I might turn that into an owl later. And I might do a friend to go with them. Anyway, go and experiment. Go and have fun. Just get all your projects and see how much different things you can create. Because it's fun and it loosens you up, and then you can think, oh yeah, I really love that effect, and I can do it in my paintings, and it just brings another dimension to your work. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and have fun, go and experiment. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and also think about joining my Patreon, where I do more stuff like this and lots of videos and information. So take care.